Hey there everyone, you're welcome to Network Tips. So, in our previous class, we looked into a sample project of a Node.js application. We were able to set up and deploy this application on a bare metal server like this, and we were able to access it via a web browser. So, in this class, we're going to look at how we can containerize this application and all the files and the dependencies that this application requires to run using a Dockerfile. So basically, a Dockerfile is simply a test document that will contain, you know, all the necessary commands that we are going to use to assemble this container image and also start this container. So, having said that, let's build our first Docker image. So I'm going to use my Vim editor to create a Docker file. The name is going to be a Docker file. That's the industry standard Docker file. So you can have any name, but why we are using Docker file is that automatically Docker will know it's going to look for a file called Docker file with a capital D and with no extension, and build your image when you want to build your image. And we don't need to specify any additional file when we are building our image. But if you use any other name aside from this one, you will need to manually specify that image while building your Docker your container image. I'm going to use Dockerfile as my file name. Then here, first command I'm going to type here is going to be um, from. So from allows us to specify a base image that this application is going to run on. So basically, remember this application is a Node.js application, so we are going to require a Node.js base image, a Node a Node.js base image. So if you go to Docker Hub, you're going to look for a Node.js base image and go to the official page of Node.js and pick a specific version that is compatible with this application. I already know a version that will be compatible to it, so I won't waste my time to start looking for that. So I'm going to use Node.js, then I'm going to use a tag of 13 Alpine. Then after that, I'm going to go to the next line. So the next line is I'm going to change my directory to working directory. I'm going to change it to home, then app. So this working directory does two things. It allows me to change the current directory of this container to this one I just specified, and it also helps me to create a directory path that does not exist in this container. For example, this app directory does not exist in this container, so it automatically creates it for me. But I know that this home directory will exist because of in every Linux image, in any Linux machine, there is always gonna be a home directory. You understand? Just like in our normal local system as well. So the next thing I'm going to do is to copy all the files in my local machine. I'm going to use the command copy to copy all the files in my local the app file in my local machine, which is I know it's on the app file. Remember, it's on where we ran the image was on the app directory. I'm going to use app, then I'm going to copy it to the home dash app directory of this container. That's what I just did. So I'm copying the app directory on my local system, all the files that will be on this app directory. I'm going to copy everything to the home slash app directory on the container. That's what I'm just doing. Then I'll come here. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to execute a shell command. So it's going to allow me to execute a command. The run command allows me to execute a command on this container, which is the command I want to execute is npm install. So npm install, I'm going to execute the install the all the dependencies that is stored on the packet.json file. Remember, before we before we start this application, we have to install the dependencies. So we are going to do the same thing here while copying the image as well. So I'm going to install all the dependencies as well. Then also another thing I want to do is to start this container. I'm going to use an entry command, which is going to use cmd. Then going to use square brackets. Then the command, remember, npm. Then double quotes. Then I want to start this application. So this is how you type your entry command in Dockerfile. So entry command is just the command that will always be executed each time you run this container. Each time you run this container. So that's what an entry command means. So we use what they call it, cmd, to do that as well. You can also use entry point command to do that as well. So then also the last thing I want to do is to expose the port of this application. So I already know that this application is running on port 5556. So I think that will be all. Then I will exit by pressing the escape key button on my keyboard. Then I will shift column to write and quit this file. Then I'm done. Then the next thing, I'm going to build this guy. Remember, I can't type a Docker command without being a super user, or you can add the user as a Docker group. Then we won't have to use sudo to always run the Docker command. So I'm going to use sudo, then Docker build. I want to build an image. I want to give that image conduit UI. That's what I'm going to give it. Then I'm going to type dot at the end of this my command. So what this dot means, that I'm telling this Docker to look for the Docker file in this local directory I am on. So let me clean this command and show you what I mean. So look at that app file that we copied. Remember, this is the app file that we copied, and what it means that it's going to come here and you to copy all the files on this app file, and it's going to install all the dependencies using the npm install all the dependencies in this packet.json. Let me go back by using cd dot. Then here I have my Docker file here presently. So if I use docker sudo docker build, then tag my image as conduit dash UI. Then I'm telling him to look for this Docker file locally on this directory that I am currently. So that's what he's going to look for, and he's going to build my image for me. So he's going to quickly pull down the base image first of all, then start moving my files from from my local system to the container, then also installing all the dependencies that will require this application to work very fine. It's going to take some time, and before we know it, these things will be done installing. And I think it's done installing. So next thing is for you to start this application. Yeah, then expose my port. So you can see my build was successful. So I'm going to do sudo docker images to see my image. So you can see it. I only have this node 13 Alpine image that I downloaded as my base image. Then it also has this a conduit UI that I just built now. So I can go ahead and do sudo docker, then run. I'm going to run this in detach mode because I want to still have access to my terminal. Then I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to give my container a name. I'm going to give it conduit UI. Let me just leave it conduit just for simplicity. Then I'm going to expose the ports. Going to forward every port coming to this machine. to the container port 5556. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to forward every port coming to this my machine from 55, anything coming to this my machine from 5556 to 5556 of the container. Then I'm going to specify the container which I want to run, which is conduit, then UI. Then I'm going to run this container. Then let's see if it's running. Sudo docker ps. Then as you can see, my application is currently running, and if I go to my browser, I'm sure I will be able to access this my application. Now don't forget to, on your AWS console, don't forget to allow this 555 to the wall. Understand? So if I search this 555, you can see it's coming from the wall. So but if you're running this on your local system, you don't need to do anything. You just have to just access it on the browser, or if you are behind a firewall, make sure that the firewall is allowing 555 also to come inside as well. So I'm going to copy the public IP of this my machine, and I'm going to come here. I'm going to do HTTP. So if you are also on your local system, you simply need to use your public IP to access this guy as well. I'm going to do colon then 5555.6. I'm going to hit enter, and I'm going to have my application running as a Docker container. You can see very, very smooth and up and running just like expected. Nothing much. So that will bring us to the end of this class, and I would like you to like and subscribe to my channel. Have any question, drop it on the comment section below. In the next class, we're going to see how we can push this push this container to our Docker hub repository. We're going to create in the next class, and you see how we can also put it down from another environment and also have it running as well. So in the meantime, see you in my next class.